Good afternoon, my friends. How are we doing on this Saturday afternoon? Happy Thanksgiving. Happy belated Thanksgiving. I hope you all had a blessed one for sure. Today, I would like to talk about a good friend of mine, Irving Pelton Jr. He's a great man, and I met him a few months back. And I mean, man, does he have a story. And I talked to him a little bit, last few days. I brought up that I wanted to speak about him a little bit. He said, "You go for it," and so I will. This one's for you, buddy. This little story. How I met this man, and how the Lord worked, even for myself, like how He was working. Like the Lord's hands are always working, and I've spoke about that a few times on my channel. But man, the work that He's done, and I've got to witness through just meeting this man, it to me is pretty incredible, especially for where I was at. Where I was at in my spirituality, and basically, where I was at in life at the moment. So here we go. It's I'm not gonna make it terribly long, but and I want to draw yous out, but I want to get to it. So here we go. All right, Lantern Ministry. This is I think this is officially episode 6. And I hope you enjoy. I was live last night with Midnight Madness. Actually, it was the Thursday exchange, Midnight Madness, even though it wasn't Thursday, because we make sense, that's what we do. But I had a great time with my brother Charles Marinaro. You guys should go check it out. It's actually a little bit over an hour long. It was a live stream last night we did. It was great. But story time, my friends. So I met this man, and this is how I met him. Spiritually, I actually felt like a disaster. I was trying to hold on. It was one of those moments where and this was a few months back, and I was trying to hold on. I was clinging, I guess. I was clinging to things in life just to hope that something works out. Well, I was running a donation center at the church that I was volunteering at, and I was running that donation center for a very long time. And during that time, I was questioning like everything, like about what I was doing. It seemed like every time I would do something, somebody else would kind of come in and take over, and it was hurtful. It was bothersome. Every time I put my good foot forward, it seems like somebody was stepping in the way, wouldn't let me do my job. So I was just in a bad, I guess, spot spiritually. And I was questioning a lot of things. Still from this day, I am happy of the decisions that I made. But story time. So I pull up to the church where I donate, or where I volunteer work. I do the donations, and I was in front of I pull my truck up. I'm in front of the garages. It's morning time, so I sit down and I usually have my coffee before the day begins. I'd like to get there before everybody gets there. I'm I guess mentally, spiritually prepared for the day. It's a rough area, and so I pull up, and I'm already not feeling right from the day start. It's been going on for a few months, so I'm kind of at the point. I'm at a point, and this man pulls up, and he's got this big, an American flag RV. It's all painted up, and I love America. Go America all day long. Let's do this. But he pulls up, and he starts backing in, but my truck is there. Now I've never seen this guy before, and he walks over to me and he goes, "Excuse me, do you know whose truck that is?" And very I'm like, "Yeah, it's my truck." Like, and I think that was my facial expression as well. It was very serious. It's my truck. Why? Well, I was told I could park here, I'm traveling the country and I'm doing haircuts and everything else. And I'm like, yeah, I was like, but this is where I set up my shop when I do my donations. And, my pride was getting in the way. I was already at the point. You got to remember, I wasn't just trying to be a jerk. I was at a point like where I kind of wasn't controlling myself, you know what I mean, of how I was acting, you know what I mean? I didn't put the way I felt inside, I kind of felt like I was taking it out a little bit on him. Um, but we got over that really quickly. And then he was like, "Well, I was told I could park here," and I'm like, "Yeah, of course you were told you could park here. It doesn't really matter what I do." So I moved my truck. I was like, "Okay, let me move my truck." So I moved my truck, and instantly, I swear, it was like the Lord instantly like gave me like a slap in the face. Like, what are you doing? This isn't you. Don't treat this man like this. I sent him here. I mean, and that's how the Lord works. And I get out of the car immediately, and I hope you comment on this because I know you remember it. We talked about it a little. And then I said, "So what do you need? You need the electrical. You need electricity to plug into, right?" And he told me, "Yeah." So I plugged him in, and I'm telling you, it was almost like it was almost an immediate thing. Like we really kicked it off, like right after that. Like it started off where I felt like I was again being pushed away. As somebody else. Somebody came in and swooped in and pushed me away, and I didn't realize who this man was that I would meet. We spoke for a while, and I got to learn a lot about him. That this man, he has been out of his home state for a little bit over, I think, 2 years now, traveling state to state. He goes to all the homeless shelters in impoverished areas, and he'll do free haircuts. He's a barber in his state of Hawaii, and he is going like every state, going to these impoverished areas, doing haircuts. He waves his flag at this American. I mean, he's got a giant bus. It's an American, and I'm gonna post some pictures with this video. You probably seen him yesterday. But he also does a lot of standing up for our men and women, our servicemen and women, and the guy is truly amazing. When I sit back and I listen to his story, he is inspiring, and he's inspired me in so many ways, because the faith, the trust, like I always look at like the like I look at the person I'm talking to, you know what I mean, and I always speak to the person I'm talking to, and I try to see. I kind of try to figure out and see what they see. You know what I mean? What are they seeing? How do they perceive things? And this is a man with a ton of faith. He's not a perfect man. None of us are. We're frail people. But to see this man's faith, like you left your home state, and you trusted that much in what the Lord was telling you to do, that you have jumped in your RV with your with your dog Kayla. Gotta remember Kayla. She's part of all of this. And you just started going, like, trusting that the Lord knew what he was doing. Even though you had an idea, okay, this is the plan. But you had no idea the people you would meet. You had no idea of the circumstances you would end up in. A little bit over 2 years on the road is a long time. Like I think about that a lot when I think of you and I pray about you. But to watch what this man is actually doing, and people will be like, "Oh, what is he doing? He's just traveling and doing haircuts." Like, some people I think have that attitude. It's like, do you realize the backing behind that? Do you realize the trust a person's got to have to do that? To jump on the road and just go all these strange places that you've never been before. But it is funny, what the Lord does too, like, and how he works. Because if I'm not mistaken, Irv, tell me if I'm mistaken, I don't think I am. He wasn't supposed to reach Buffalo, the city of Buffalo, when he did. It was kind of something that happened. He was supposed to meet somebody, and he kind of just got redirected and ended up in Buffalo. He was supposed to, I think, come to Buffalo a little bit later in the season. Well, during the time period, that he came into Buffalo. I was going through a lot of hardship myself. And now I got a man standing there showing me what it is to be faithful, how much I need to trust God. Like, he was teaching me something in all of this. The Lord was teaching me that he didn't just send this random guy to do haircuts. This guy he was sent to me for a reason. He was sent to me to show me something. Like, and that's how I see him, because I would go back and tell my wife, I'm like, man, this something about this guy. There's something about him that is special. There's something I see about this guy that I can't shake it. Like the Lord sent this man into my life to tell me something, to teach me something, and I completely I see it. Like, I see it now more than I did when he was right in front of my face, and he comes in, and now he wasn't supposed to be in Buffalo when he did, but he ended up coming to Buffalo, and I was going through a thing, but during the process of me going through a thing and him coming to Buffalo with his dog Kayla was actually sick, and I watched this man, and it was very emotional. Like, I watched this man like cry, like he got very emotional because of what God did. And when I realized what it was, it is something that is truly remarkable in how God directs people, and how when you trust in the Lord, he will take care of you, your animal, your vehicle, all of your needs. When you're doing his work, you trust in him, he'll take care of it when you're doing his work. And his dog was sick, okay? I actually got a little teary-eyed just thinking about this stuff, because it's so true. Like, this man's dog was sick. He wasn't supposed to come into Buffalo when he did. He got to Buffalo, on kind of a fluke. Now he's at St. Luke's, and that's where we're at, okay? We're at St. Luke's Mission of Mercy. It's on the east side of Buffalo. It's a beautiful place to do a lot of really good work for people. And he didn't know, and neither did I. Now, I've been there. I've been part of St. Luke's since I've been 16 years old. And that weekend, now this is the weekend, I think, before he was going home, we both found out that they were doing a veterinarian event at St. Luke's free of charge. Now, that's where all these veterinarians come in. They bring in their other RVs that are medically fit for animals. They bring the animals in, they treat the animals, diagnose the animals. Now, his dog was sick. He didn't know how he was going to get the dog its medication. Like anything, he did not have funds to do those things. I mean, and anybody knows that has a pet, you do not want to see your animal, your family member suffer. And that's what was happening, kind of. Like, he didn't know what to do. Like, a panic kind of sets in. Like, when you don't have the money or the insurances to take care of your animal, like your family. That is his family. That is his only comfort when he is on the road. When he's on the road in his vehicle traveling state to state, his dog Kayla is his only friend. It's his only family. It's his only loved one that's on the road with him. And they have a whole event free of charge. Now, I was kind of stumbled because I didn't even know they were having an event. I've been there for all this time. I guess I was out of the loop on that one. And it's amazing. Like, again, it's amazing what they do. But he ended up taking his dog. They diagnose, they treat. And then they fill up a script. And if I'm not mistaken, forgive me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure they filled up a second script for him before he left. So he was able to get the medication for the dog to treat it at the moment, and then pick up a script free of charge for different prescriptions for his dog when he got on the road. So he was able to treat his dog. And that's, the Lord brought him there for many different things, not just for me, not just for, because it was just, another place he had to go to in his travels, but he brought him there, like, even for his animal. Like, That's how much the Lord loves. And that's how much, it shows, when you trust the Lord and you follow the Lord and you're doing His work, the Lord will take care of it. The Lord will take care of it. You never have to doubt when you're doing His work. It's not going to be easy. It's not going to be easy doing the Lord's work, but He'll take care of the things that are need to be taken care of. That's how awesome our Lord is. He takes care of those things. And he was, I got to watch this man. I mean, and it was such a joyful moment. When I showed up and I pulled up during the event we were having, and I watched him come up to my car, and how emotionally touched he was, because it was shocking. It was shocking. It was incredible. What the Lord really did. I didn't know. He didn't know. Nobody knew, that this event would be taking place, and he shows up randomly, and the Lord's like, "Hey, I got a gift for you, for your work. I got a gift." And that's how he took care of it. You know what I mean? And possibly saved his dog's life. Because you got to treat animals when they're sick. You got to treat them, otherwise it could become life-threatening. But just getting to know this man it still is, from this day. I still talk to him all the time, and it is such a privilege to know this man, and watch his faith and his dedication, because I look at it as, how hard it's got to be, how scary it's got to be, terrifying at times, terrifying, but when you have the trust in the Lord, you're like, no matter what happens here, we're going to get to it. We're going to get to number 50 states. He's on state 25 now. He was on state 17 when he was in New York State here. That was his 17th state. He is on, actually, his state 25 now. He's in Delaware. Man, safe travels for sure. I love you, man. But I mean, the story of this man, and he said something to me, that stuck, and he was talking about, God's blessings, the Lord's blessings, that basically when we pray, we're praying for something by God and we really need it. Just because something doesn't happen right away, just because something that the Lord doesn't work like this, like we want him to work, we got to remember that we also have an enemy that's trying to stop us in our tracks. And we do have angels and demons. So when the Lord is trying to send that airdrop, that gift, that airdrop to us, got to remember that there's demons that are trying to prevent that from happening. Our angels and our demons are battling each other. They are battling each other. So it may take a little time, for that to get to you, because we got to clear the way. The Lord clears the way for us. He clears the way, so we can receive those blessings. But he clears the way, and it's not, when you're doing the Lord's work, you are under attack. There's no doubt. You are under attack when you're doing the Lord's work. He is, the devil is working, his angels and his army, not his angels, his demons, I'm sorry. His demons and our angels. There's a war going on, a spiritual warfare that is so realistic, it's so true behind the scenes. And we could see it sometimes, and we can't see it sometimes. There's in a fight, sometimes you got to wait until the end of the fight. We know we win. The Lord's going to win. He's going to send he's going to send his angels, for victory. But it might take, a fight length worth of time. It doesn't mean the Lord's not hearing you and he's not blessing you. It may take a moment. There's a fight going on. Got to clear the way, and another thing that he told me, and he's very in tuned, he loves the Lord deeply, and he prays every day. And another thing he told me, and this was, I was really struggling myself with figuring out where I belong, figuring out what my next move was, as a human being, as a man, as a husband, as a father. And, there was a certain situation that was going on at the time, and, he said, basically when the bad, if there's a good thing happening and the bad takes it over and there's more of the bad than there is the good, it overpowers it. It overpowers the good. It forces the good out. And I've been praying a lot, at the time for like guidance by the Lord of what should I do? Like I need to know what I need to do, because I'm losing it. I'm starting to lose it. And that's where I was at when I met this man. Like, but I'll tell you, after meeting him, I had a different perspective, like on everything. Because I looked at him and I'm like, God is telling me to start something. Take this man as an inspiration, as a motivation. Like he's doing it. He's doing it because the Lord asked him to do it. And he did it. Like he's doing it. He's on the road still. He's still on the road. He'll be on the road probably for another 2 years. God bless you, man. Like I'm telling you, and everything in me is like, man, I'd love to see you again, and we will see each other again, whether it's in his home state or up in heaven with the Lord. We'll see each other again, physically in the physical. And if I get a chance to get out to Hawaii, I'm coming. I told him that. But he's the kind of man to say, like yeah, when I had to say goodbye to him, and it's not like he don't want to hear, hey, I'll see you again. I hope to see you again. He don't want to see you again. Like he's got a mission. He's on a mission. He's like, well, by him seeing me again would mean at this point him backtracking. He have to come back to Buffalo. He's got a mission. He's got a mission the Lord sent him on to fulfill. That doesn't mean that he's saying, hey man, get lost now. Don't our time here is over. Don't, basically I'm going on my way, you go on yours, and that's it. No, we communicate a lot. I love the man. He's a great man. But that's his attitude towards things. He's like, I got the Lord's work to do. Like I'm busy doing the Lord's work. And it's incredible. Like, but how much, again, I know I'm backtracking a little bit. I do it a lot. I'm sorry. I'm still getting used to this. But just listening to him tell me that, like, about like when the bad kind of rolls in, and kind of there's a lot of it takes dominance almost over the good things that are happening. You got that, it's kind of encompassing it, pushes the good out. And I've seen that happen a lot. Like and with myself again, I was at the question of I've been holding on to the same particular things for a very long time. I just holding on. And that message to me was God speaking through him to say, hey, Dan, let it go. Let it go. Look, I'm presenting you here, this man. I'm showing you what trust looks like. I'm showing you what a ministry looks like. I'm showing you these things for a reason. Because he's a special person, like to me, and I know he's a special person to the Lord. I know he is. Because just watching this man's faith, his sincerity in what he does, how he responds to things. And, I've watched people like, as he's, getting a haircut, people kind of treating him funky, And I watched his response, how he responds to people. And it's, it's that godly thing, When the Lord's working in you, he's working in you. He responds with the godly response. He does it with love, but with firmness. If he's telling someone no, he's doing it with love, with firmness. If he's telling somebody, yeah, sit in that seat right here, and he's not just a man to say, here, let me sit in the seat, cut your hair, move on. No, he wants to know about you, why you're sitting in that chair. He starts, ministering, and it's incredible to watch. And again, Irv, you are a incredible person. You are a incredible person, and I'm going to keep saying it. You keep going. You keep going, no matter how how hard it gets. Trust. Keep trusting in the Lord. Like, just the other day, and I'm not even going to bring up the actual topic, but the other day, he messaged me, called me, and I said, Irv, I was like, maybe try this out or this out, and he did. And he's not the kind to do those things. He's not the kind to kind of put himself out there, But in my mind is you're doing the Lord's work, full-time job, and it's not meant to really be easy. It's not easy. It's not easy. It doesn't say that it doesn't. It doesn't have its moments where it's so beautiful, but it's not easy. Like the Lord's work's not meant to be easy. Like. It's going to be a rough road. Like, Jesus had a rough road, getting to his destination here. When he got here and he had to go, He had to go to his father. He had a rough destination. He had a rough path. He went through it. We're going to go through it. And just being able to hold on to that, always remember that. But when we were speaking, and he did something, and then we talked the next day, and he was like, he's like, the Lord told me to call, to contact certain people, that I contacted me, and I was one of those people, and thank you, for that, but the Lord's blessings came through, and he was able to, to get through what he was going through, and that's, again, it's the Lord's work. He provides for his people. The Lord is amazing, and keep it going. Don't ever stop. And I truly do hope I see you again in person. Again, even if it's in your home state, man, or even after all this is said and done, all of it's said and done, Irv. And I mean this. When it's all said and done, and you have completed your destination, and if I can't get to you, I'll send you the money to get back to me, and we could hang out. You spend the week over, we go hang out, man. I would love to do that. I'm gonna end this. I just want to say thank yous guys for listening. Thank yous for your support. If you get a chance, the Flag Van, on Facebook, YouTube as well. I think there's the Flag Bus and the Flag Van. Irvin Pelton Jr. is the name. Go and check him out. Go support his page. If you feel, generous in any way, he does have a Cash App, support this man's journey. I am so serious. Support this man's journey. He's one of the few people I've met in my life that is truly remarkable in his trust in his trust in Jesus Christ. Keep it going, man. Don't ever stop doing what you're doing, man. I love you. God bless you. God bless you all. Thank you again. It is Lantern Ministry. It's the Deacon. I will catch you later tonight, I think. Later tonight, we have another episode coming out, and it would be Behind the Music. And it's going to dig a little bit into my creativity when it comes to music and what goes on up here while I'm putting it down on the paper. Stay tuned. Again, I love you. God bless you. It is the Deacon. I am out.